Just keep that in mind, inshallah. So the Prophet ﷺ said Dajjal will be killed by who? By who? Where? Babylon. Okay? And I'll show you the map soon. Now in regards to Dajjal's features, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah is not one-eyed, while Masih ad-Dajjal is blind in the right eye. And his eye looks like a bulging out grape. While sleeping near the Kaaba last night, I saw in my dream a man of brown color, the best one could see amongst brown color, meaning olive color skin. His hair was long that it fell between his shoulders. His hair was lank and water was dripping from his head. And he was placing his hands on the shoulder of two men while circumambulating the Kaaba. I asked, who is this? They replied, this is Jesus, the son of Mary. Our Habib Sallallahu is having a dream. He's telling us. Say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He's telling us his dream. A beautiful man making tawaf. And he's asking, who is that? He's saying that's Isa ibn Maryam. And behind him, I saw a man who had very curly hair, who was blind in the right eye, resembling Ibn Qatan, one of the infidels of that time. He was placing his hands on the shoulder of a person while performing tawaf. He was placing his hands on the shoulders of please remember this, on a person. Just keep that in mind. While performing tawaf. I asked, who is this? They said, this is Dajjal. Isa alayhi salam, two shoulders, holding on to two shoulders. Dajjal, holding onto the shoulder of a person. Gender, not specified. But Dajjal is in Mecca making tawaf. The Prophet was saying, what does that mean? See, problem is, we read hadith, we close it. We don't research what these hadith are telling us. Dajjal, brothers and sisters, is alive. And I want to read to you the hadith in its entirety from Fatima bint Qais. And how she tells us is so beautiful. Amr ibn Sharahbil reports that he asked Fatima bint Qais. She is the sister of Dhahak ibn Qais, who was one of the first ladies to immigrate. And he asks her, tell me a hadith which you heard directly from the Prophet ﷺ with no one in between. I want to hear a story that you heard directly. Many people don't narrate this entire story before the hadith. They talk about Rasulullah told Bilal to call the adhan and so on and so forth. I want you to see how specifically and how detailed she is telling the story because it has beef to it. She said, I can tell you if you like. He said, yes, tell me. She said, I married Ibn Mughira, who was one of the best young Qurayshis of that day. But he died in jihad with the Prophet ﷺ. I became a widow. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was one of the companions of the Prophet, sent to me with a proposal for marriage. The Prophet ﷺ also sent me a proposal of marriage on behalf of his freedman Usama bin Zayd. I had been told that the Prophet ﷺ said, he who loves me should also love Usama bin Zayd. So there was a very special relationship. And Usama bin Zayd was asking for her hand in marriage. When the Prophet ﷺ spoke to me, I said, it is up to you, marry me off to whomever you wish. The Prophet ﷺ said, go and stay with Sharik. She was one of the rich Ansari women from Medina who spent much of her money for the path of Allah entertaining people. I said, I will do that. Then he said, don't go. Sharik has many guests, and I don't want like you to become a burden on her, right? I would not like it if your head or leg were to become uncovered accidentally and people saw something of you. There's too many guests in the house right now. It's better that you go stay with your cousin Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Maktoum, who is from Banu Fihr of Quraysh. So I went to stay with him. And when I was there and I completed my period of iddah, which is how much for someone whose husband died? Anyone? 4 months? 4 months, 10 days. Now let me pause here. Would anyone forget a tragedy in their life? Tell me, if Allah forbid your parents, your child your husband or wife dies. Will you forget it? She is telling a story with her personal story first. Meaning that I know what I heard as much as I know what happened to me. Do you get it? This is not part of the hadith. She's saying this, but the Prophet this isn't what she's trying to propagate. She's saying, you know what happened to me? And while this was happening to me, the Prophet said this. So what happened? While I was with him, I heard someone call as-salatu jami'ah. People come for prayer. So I went to the mosque and I prayed with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I was in the women's row and that was the one closest to the people. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam finished his prayer, he sat on the minbar and he was smiling and he said, everyone stay in your place. He said, do you know why I called you? What did the Sahaba always say? Allah and His Rasul know, right? They never said, yeah, we know why you called us. They were always, He asked them in Arafah, where are you? They said, Allahu wa Rasuluhu alam. What day is it? Allahu wa Rasuluhu alam. Because they didn't want to speak in front of the Prophet ﷺ. They wanted to hear from him something new. So they said, only Allah and His Messenger know best. He said, by Allah, I did not call you together for exhortation or for a warning. I didn't call you today for a khatira or a dars. Does that make sense? I didn't call you here for a bayan or a lecture. I called you together because Tamim Dari, what's the name, everyone? Tamim Dari, he's a Christian. And he came and swore allegiance and became a Muslim. And he told me something which agrees with what I was telling you about Dajjal. Look at these words. Tamim came, accepted Islam, and told me something which I've been telling you about Dajjal. Every prophet is warning their people of Dajjal, and today Muslims don't know nothing about Dajjal. We have done so much justice to Rasulullah. So much justice. We fight, are you Sunni or are you Shia? Are you Hanafi or Shafi? Do you pray after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock? Buddu. What's wrong with us? Our deen is giving you clarity. If you see clearly, if you know what's coming, because you know what happened, you will not fight. Our ummah today is fighting. You should be crying. Rasulullah said, I've been telling you, I've been teaching you about Dajjal. This man just came and told me exactly what I've been telling you. What did he say? He came and told me something which agrees with what I've been telling you. He told me that he was sailing in a ship with 30 men of Lakham and Judam. Many people read the hadith and say Lakham and Judam. If you study the history, you find Lakham is a people of Iraq, and Judam are a people of the Levant. So if you hear ISIS and ISIL, Obama always said ISIL. Remember that? Because Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Levant is an ancient name for the region of Syria. And they were tossed by the waves of the sea for a month. For how much, everybody? A month. And then they came to an island at sunset. Now, if my Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam called people for prayer, sat them down and said, I'm not giving you a dars today, I'm telling you something. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam believed it, should we not believe it? He believed it. He's teaching it. Why are we not learning it? He said they came to this island. They sat in a small rowing boat and they landed on the island. So they were in a ship. And then they took a small boat and they got to the island. They were met with a beast with a great deal of hair. What does she have? What did the beast have, everyone? I don't hear you. Hair. And they could not distinguish the face from the back because it was so hairy. They said, woe to you. What are you? It said, I am al-jassasa. What did it say? I am jassasa. They said, what is al-jassasa? It said, O people, go to this man in the monastery, for he is keen to know about you. Dajjal was leaning on the shoulder of a person. Gender, non-specific. Jassasa, according to the story, is gender non-specific. And Jassasa is saying, go to the monastery. What is a monastery? Someone tell me quickly. What is a monastery? Huh? Where monks live. And what do monks do? Play cards all day? A place where they research, write, religion, text. A religious institution, right? So there's someone waiting in a religious institution for this person. The narrator said when it named a man for us, we were afraid that it may be the devil. We set off running until we came to the monastery, where we found the hugest man we've ever seen, bound strongly in chains with his hands tied to his neck and his legs bound to his knees, with his legs bound from his knees to the ankle with iron shackles. Okay? Now if you look at the map here, the people of, where's my pointer? If you look at the map here, this is where the people were from. They came from this region. That means there's only two places they would have went. Here or here. They could have gone to the Mediterranean or they could have gone to the Persian Gulf. Is everyone with me? Now, if you're in the Mediterranean Sea, this distance of 1 month between here and Cyprus, questionable. On this side, it's questionable, right? The Persian Gulf, we don't see any islands, but if we zoom in here in the Persian Gulf, we see there is a collection of very small islands around here. Okay? A very strategic and controversial area in our world today. Oil goes through here, right? Strait of Hormuz, this whole area, very controversial, the global attention. And the reason I want to focus on this area is because when the Prophet ﷺ spoke about Dajjal, he kept on pointing to the east. He kept on pointing with his right hand to the east. And since the Mediterranean is on the west and Medina is here, and the Prophet ﷺ his back is towards the Kaaba, he's speaking to his people and he's pointing to the east. To me, I think the Persian Gulf sounds more applicable to the story. I am saying this because this is something I am coming to a conclusion of. The beauty of our deen is when we used to read holy texts, we would do research and everyone would bring their conclusion to the table. And that's what made this deen interesting, because we brought things together. Just as Rasulullah said, what does إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ mean? And the youngest Ibn Abbas said, Ya Rasulullah, you're dying. Your time has come. That's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. There was a foundation that was built of thinking. The West is what I think is controversial. We have the Cyprus island here. We have many more here. But Allahu A'lam. Only Allah knows. Now, Jassasa means spy. What does it mean? Spy. Spying and doing work of a spy is what she does. Or it does. I will call her a she because Jassasa is a feminine word. Who is Jassasa? Based on the research of not just myself and many other scholars, and a very notable scholar in Medina Munawwara, we came to a conclusion that the icon of Starbucks mimics Jassasa. Because a mermaid doesn't have two tails. What is all that over there, brothers and sisters? That's hair. From the first logo of Starbucks to the Starbucks logo of today, it is called hair. Now this may sound funny to many people, but let me tell you one thing. If you want to know what's going on in our world today, it's not a secret. It's not hidden. It's happening in front of our eyes. Why is Starbucks a notable business to look at? Because if you look at Starbucks' growth from the late 90s to the early 2000s, Starbucks was opening up a new store every day. Every day. Every Monday to Friday, a new store was opening up. Currently, that's their revenue on the bottom. They have over 277,000 employees. And this is the figures right there from their website. And I want to tell you one thing. For evil and deception to seep into you will happen three ways. How many ways, everyone? Three ways. Number one is through your eyes. Number one is through your eyes. Deception. That's why the Quran taught you to look from the eyes of the heart. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ. Allah said your eyes will not go blind. وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Your heart will go blind. So there will be deceptions. Number 2, there will be distance from the religion. And number 3, there will be a changing out of you and your body and your entire chemistry. As Allah said in the Quran, Shaitan will do, what's his last thing? فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. He will change Allah's creation. We're living in a time where the boy wants to be a girl wants to be a boy, a human wants to be a dog. A dog is treated more better than a human. Where are these changes coming from? It's through what you eat. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah commanded you what He commanded the prophets. Ya ayyuha rusul kulu min at-tayyibati wa'malu salihah. O messengers, eat tayyib. He didn't just say halal. He said tayyib, pure, and do good deeds. If you care about your body, start researching ingredients and research what those ingredients compose of, what they compromise of. What are they? And what those ingredients are doing to you. And why there are certain addictions that we have to certain things than others. It's all called work in process. So, we said, woe to you, what are you, who are you? He said, you will soon find out about me, tell me who you are. Now who are they talking to? They're talking to this beast in the cave, in the monastery. Okay? They're talking to the guy in the monastery. Who are you? He's asking. So they give the whole story again. We left the people of Arabia. We got on a ship. The waves tossed us. We got to this island of yours. We came out. We saw this thing. We said, what are you? He said, I'm Jassasa. We said, what is Jassasa? They go to the monastery and, we're here. So he said, fine. He's asking questions now, brothers. He said, tell me about the date palm trees of Baysan. What did he say? Tell me about the date palm trees of Baysan. We said, what do you want to know about them? He said, do they have trees on them? Do they have the fruits? We said, yes. He said, soon they will not bear fruits. Meaning the trees will not bear fruits. Okay? This thing in a monastery is asking these 30 people about Baysan. How many of us know where Baysan is? The Prophet ﷺ stopped the Sahaba and said, I want to tell you what this guy is telling me, and I believe it, I want you to know it, and we don't even know what Baysan is. Many people think it's a valley in Jordan. If you do research, Baysan is in the Bible. In Isaiah 33, in the King James Version, it is under the chapter of distress and help. Just read the highlighted. I can't go through everything because we have 4 different slides to go through. It says on verse number 5, the Lord is exalted, for He dwells on high. He will fill Zion. What will He fill, everyone? Say please. Zion, with His justice and righteousness. Zion is known as the city of David, the Temple Mount, Jerusalem, the western hill of Jerusalem. And in that, it says, the land dries up and wastes away. Lebanon is ashamed and withers. Sharon is like Araba, and Bashan and Carmel drop their leaves. Baysan will drop its leaves. This is in the Bible. Again, just read. Baysan will drop its leaves. And what did this person say? Soon there will be no fruit. And it's talking also in historical and biblical text that Baysan will have no leaves. So before we move on to knowing where Baysan is, I want you to know what Zion and Zionist is, because our people are very passionate about it. Zion is known as the city of David, the first land created by Dawood alayhi salam as a functioning city. It is known as Jerusalem. What is everyone? Jerusalem. A Zionist is a supporter of Zion, the land of Zion. A person who believes in the development and protection of a Jewish nation, which is now known as Israel. What is their belief system? Zionism is Israel's national ideology. Zionists believe Judaism is a nationality as well as a religion. You know why people think Muslims are only Saudi Arabia? You understand why now? Because they think the religion is intertwined, a place and a people. Do you understand? In the Zionist belief, Judaism is not just a religion. It is a national identity with the religion. The religion is only as strong as the national identity. That is why in America they say, what kind of Muslims are you? You don't let women drive. Women drive in Pakistan, yes? Women drive in Egypt, yes? But why are they stuck up on Saudi? Because their thinking is that your national identity is the representation of your religion, and your religion is intertwined with the national identity. But it's not. But that's how they look at it. They believe that the Jews, for the success of Judaism, has to have its homeland Israel, just as the French people deserve France and the Chinese people deserve China. If you look according to ancient maps, Baisan sits in the northeastern corner of what is known as Israel today. And this is 17 kilometers. It's an Arab village. Sirin is an Arabic village 17 kilometers from Baisan. This area of Sirin was destroyed in 1948. It's only a cemetery today. There's only one house and there's one cemetery. According to the internet, the population today is 810. The population since 1945 was 810. After its destruction in 1948 is a ghost land. They're saying the people were evacuated in 1948 by the Jewish forces, and then some people returned, and then it was permanently depopulated in the summer of 1948. The beast is asking that Baisan will have no fruit on the tree. If you have a garden, what do you need to do to the garden? What do you have to do to it? Tend to it. If there's no one tending to it, what's going to happen to the trees? Thank you. If you look according to the Israeli website, they're saying, no, this is a thriving city with biblical accounts. They call it Bin Shian, and I would dispute this claim, but it is in the same region which is known as Baisan. Then he says, the beast says, he asked 3-4 questions. He said, tell me about the lake of Tabariya. What's the name of the lake, everyone? Tabariya. Now, how many of us know where Tabariya is? No, exact location. Okay. So you understand? Many of us don't know, right? This beast is asking, tell me about Buhayrat al-Tabariya. Buhayrat al-Tabariya. Buhayra means small lake of Tabariya. We said, what do you want to know about it? He said, is there water in it? They said, yeah, there's a great deal of water in it. He said, soon it will dry up. Everyone's with me? Does it make sense? Let's figure this out. This lake in front of you, which is a satellite image, is a freshwater lake known as the Tiberias, Lake Tiberias. It's also known as Lake Gennesaret. It's also known as Lake Kinneret. It's also known as the Sea of Galilee. Why does it have so many names, brothers and sisters? Because ancient biblical texts have spoken about it, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has also spoken about it. This is not hidden text. This beast is saying, what is its condition? Those people are saying, a lot of water. He said, it will soon dry up. This area of the Sea of Galilee is right next to the Golan Heights, which is a disputed territory, which I saved this for the next our next slide, which is going to be after. But again, the Sea of Galilee is there. According to the Sea of Galilee surveys, the water level had dropped below the red line. You can see it right there. From 2004 to 2012, the lake water has been dropping substantially. What did that beast say? It will dry up. Historic levels from 1966 to 2016 shows you that this thing has been really fluctuating and it is constantly falling. Do you know when the Prophet ﷺ spoke about this lake? Anyone? Under what context? When did he talk about this? Remember when he said that Gog and Magog will leave? And the last of them will say there once was water here? Remember that? They will leave, they will come out, Gog and Magog, and they'll drink the water. And the last one will say there was water here. You know what water he was talking about? The Sea of Galilee. Hold on to that. We'll do this in our next one. Next slide. So this is what he was asking about the beast. Then he said, tell me about the spring of Zughar, which is in the south of Syria. He said, what do you want to know about it? He said, is there water in the spring, or do the people grow crops with the water of the spring? We said, yes, there's plenty of water in it, and people do grow crops with this water. So, Syria, Israel, and which used to be parts of Jordan. This whole area is what he's talking about. He then said, tell me about the prophet of the unlettered. What has he done? We said he has left Makkah and he has now settled in Medina. Right? Yathrib. He asked, the beast is asking, do the Arabs fight against him? We said, yes. He said, how did he deal with them? We told him that he had prevailed over the Arabs in the vicinity, and they have now shown obedience to him. So what does this mean? This happened really late in Nubuwah, right? After the Hijrah. And they're telling the beast that the Arabs kept on fighting, now they have listened to him. You know what the beast said? Has it really happened? We said, yes. He said, if it is so, that is better for them that they show obedience to him. This beast knows about Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knows that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is coming. He knows the Arabs will fight with him. And he is astonished that the Arabs are not listening to him. And he himself is saying, if they listen to him, it's good for them. Oh Muslims, if you listen to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's good for you. I'm not just the one saying it. The beast is saying it. He said, let me tell you about myself. I am the Dajjal, and I soon will be given permission to emerge. So I will come out and travel in the land, and I will not spare any town, but I will stay with 40 nights, except Makkah and Medina. They are forbidden for me, and every time I try to enter one of them, I will be met by an angel with a sword in his hand who will bar my way on every route, and the angels will be there guarding it. But again, brothers and sisters, who sees angels with swords, right? All just fairy tale. Let us just memorize the Quran, go to Sunday school, and pray namaz, right? It's just a fairy tale. What significance does it have? She then says, who is she? The narrator of this hadith, the one who's telling us about her husband dying. She said, then Rasulullah struck the member with his staff and said, this is Taiba, this is Taiba, this is Taiba, meaning this is Medina. Did I not tell you before? The people said, Ya Rasulullah, yes, this is Medina. He's saying, you are in the protected zone. You are in the protected zone. I like the story of Tamim because it agrees with what I used to tell you about him and about Makkah and Medina. But he is in the Syrian Sea. Okay? The Syrian Sea is which one, everyone? What is the Syrian Sea, everyone? Mediterranean. Then the Prophet says, or in the Yemeni Sea, which is the Arabian Sea. Mediterranean, Arabian. Then the Prophet said, no, he's in the east. He's in the east. He's in the Persian Gulf. Mediterranean, Arabian. No, he's in the east. And he pointed towards it with his hand. She said, I memorized this from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Does this make sense to anyone? Is this making sense? There's some beats to this, and we need to start understanding it. Now quickly, there are three dimensions of Dajjal. The individual, the worldwide social and cultural phenomenon, and an unseen force. If you want to know about the worldwide social and cultural phenomenon, or you want to know about the unseen force, there is a book written by Ahmad Thomas known as Dajjal, the King Without Clothes. I want you to read that book. That is a crazy, amazing book. talks about exactly how a system of Dajjal will be created for Dajjal to emerge. Because Dajjal himself is the embodiment of evil. So we should know who is Dajjal. According to many hadith, the Prophet ﷺ talked about Dajjal. He's going to have one eye, yes or no? The eye is going to be bulging like a grape. He's going to have curly hair. He's going to be short, stocky, fat, right? The Prophet ﷺ, the hadith I like a lot is this one. I have explained Dajjal to you, but I fear you might have not understood. Masih Dajjal will be short. His legs will be crooked. The hair on his head will be extremely twisted. He will have one eye, while the other eye will be flat. It will not be deep nor protruding. Sorry, right there. Dajjal, the king without clothes. Ahmed Thomas. Okay, so we know who Dajjal is. Where is Dajjal? It's also been asserted from the hadith that he will emerge between Syria and Iraq. And his emergence will be known from a place called Isfahan. And in Isfahan, a place called Judea. He will be of Jewish origin, and the Jews of Isfahan will be following him. Now, when I read this hadith in 2012, when I was doing this research, I studied Isfahan, which is outside of Tehran in Iran. And at that time, there was 13 synagogues in Iran. How many, everyone? 13 synagogues in Iran. And one of the most ancient Jewish tribes or people, generations, live in Iran. And their population is estimated at 70,000. Okay? Now look at the next hadith. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu reports that Dajjal will be followed by, could you read it please? Loudly. 70,000 Jews of Isfahan wearing Persian shawls. He will go over through the world. Jews and a great number of non-Jewish women will flock to him upon witnessing his false miracles. The one thing Dajjal will do is do deception, magic, and people will fall for it. Tell me if I'm crazy, but isn't everything that we are exposed to today introducing and normalizing magic to us? Yes or no? What does Tinkerbell do? What does Tinkerbell do? Come on guys, we grew up watching Disney cartoons. What does Tinkerbell do? Pixie dust and magic. What does Mickey Mouse do? Magic. What does Harry Potter do? Magic. What's Lord of the Rings about? Magic. You have to normalize something in society that blurs the line between haqq and batil. Don't think anything in this world is happening just because it's happening. It's happening because of reason. Imran ibn Hussein radiallahu anhu narrates that the Prophet ﷺ said, those who hear about Dajjal should stay away from him. By Allah, a person will approach him thinking himself to be a believer, but on seeing his amazing feat, his amazing magic, they will just follow him. How long will he be here? The beast was taken. In Book of Revelation, it says, the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, who wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them. Even the Book of Revelation talks about this beast. The beast meaning Jassasa, coming with the false prophet. The false prophet being Dajjal. And what will Dajjal do? Wrought miracles, meaning deceive people with magic. The Prophet ﷺ told us that he will have a Jannah and a Jahannam. He will have a heaven and a hell. Meaning, the world will see things in a way that's conducive and something that's not conducive. And you know what will look like hell? What you believe in. What will look wrong? What you profess and what you follow. It will be wrong. And you know what will be right? Everything that your religion told you is wrong. If you follow the trend and go to his Jannah, in reality it will be hell. But if you stick to your guns and you go to his hell, Rasulullah saying it will be like Jahannam, but in reality it will be a paradise. We learned that he will be on the earth for 40 days. The first day will be as long as a year. Second day will be as long as a month. And the third will be as a week. And the rest 37 days will be normal length. He will cover the world, but He won't touch Makkah and Medina. He will then try to enter Medina. At that time, He won't. He will flee to Syria. When He goes to Syria, He'll meet Imam Mahdi. At that time, there will be a battle. Upon the completion of that battle, Isa Islam will come down. Isa Islam will pray namaz in Syria. He will open the doors. Dajjal's in front of Him. He will chase Dajjal to Palestine or Israel. At that time, He will then kill Dajjal at Babylon. Got it? Look at this hadith of Abu Dawud. There's going to be the greatest war. What is it, everyone? The greatest war. In Christian theology, it's called Armageddon. I'm sure some of you watched the movie Armageddon. But Armageddon is something that the Bible has talked about. There's going to be a great global war. Has the Quran talked about it? Which verse? فَارْتَقِبْ Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَارْتَقِبْ Wait. يَوْمَ تَأْتِ السَّمَاءُ بِدُخَانٍ مُبِينٍ The sky is going to cover the world with smoke. يَغْشَ النَّاسِ Everyone will be covered. هَذَا عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ This is going to be the most painful punishment you've ever faced. Now people say, oh, this is Qiyamah. No, it's not. Qiyamah has been described. And when Qiyamah starts, there's no stopping it. Yes or no? Qiyamah is done, is done. You cannot pray on the Day of Judgment. It's done. But what is this first thing? رَبَّنَا اكْشِفْ عَنَّا الْعَذَابَ إِنَّا مُوقِنُونَ When the world will be covered in smoke, Muslims will say, oh Allah, please take this away. We believe in you now. Allah will say, أَنَّا لَهُمُ الذِّكْرَ How will you believe now? How? Before I told you, you didn't want to know it, and now it's happening, you want to go back? It's not going to happen now. So this will be something we will have to go through. May Allah protect us. Say Ameen. May Allah protect our children and their children. Ameen. It's going to happen. And there's only one thing you could do to stop it from happening. It's not politics. It's not voting. It's called Surah Kahf. If you start reading Surah Kahf every Friday, you are literally protecting the world from what's going to happen. You are feeding the angels who are protecting this world. Don't think about your Quran as just a ritual. It is in tradition that when you say Allahu Akbar and you start reading, the angels put their mouth to your mouth. You know what they're doing? They're taking the nourishment of the Quran that you're reading, and that nourishment allows them to protect us. When we stop nourishing them, we give power to the devil to do what he wants to. It's a very simple analogy. It's not rocket science. The Prophet said the greatest war, the conquest of Constantinople, and the coming forth of Antichrist will take place within a period of 7 months. How many, everyone? 7 months. It's going to happen so fast. Rasulullah gave us gauges. We need to follow those gauges. And today Constantinople is known as modern-day Istanbul. Now, I'm going to cut through because we have passed the first hour and we have so much to cover. It says in Hadith that Dajjal will travel on a donkey with 40 cubic feet ears. Everyone with me on this? Eeyore with 40 cubic feet ears. Okay, just picture that for a second. Now, the Prophet ﷺ said donkey. This is his hadith. I can't read everything right now because we're not going to get everything done. So, how many of us have seen a donkey with 40 cubic feet ears? Why is it a plane? Let me give you a better response. It would be a plane because the Quran said, our Quran, وَالْخَيْلَ What's khayl? Horse. وَالْبِغَالَ What's bighal? Mules. وَالْحَمِيرَ What's hamir? Donkeys. لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَ Allah created so you travel and you look good. My Mercedes, my ride, my Ferrari, look good. وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ And Allah is creating what you don't know. Oh, look how they created planes and rockets. Allah said He's creating planes, trains, automobiles, Hyperloop, the rockets, supersonic jets. Allah says, and creating. But what was the last animal Allah talked about? Wal hamira, donkeys. The Prophet ﷺ is using the analogy that Allah used. Donkey is the latest addition in our time. And the donkey will be the latest addition in the time of the people who understand it. If you go to do the measurement of 40 cubic feet years, as I just quoted you that verse, which is in chapter 16, verse 8, 1 cubic feet equals 1.5 feet. According to Hebrew text, a cubic feet was 17.5 inches, Egyptian, Babylonian, Hebrew long, and Egyptian long. These are all the different measurements. But realistically, a cubic feet is 1 cubic feet is 1.5 feet, times it by 40, that's 60 feet wide. What has a span of 60 feet, based on my research of over 1,000 different types of plane, very unique. That's the Hawker 4000, a very unique private jet. But also these are all the Bombardier company jets, which kind of mimic the same level of wingspan. I'm not here to say that's the plane. I'm here to say it's a plane. Does that make sense? The Dajjal will travel like on a plane. Another narration talks to us that the Dajjal will come down. Isa will come down. He will ascend. He will descend on the Mount Afiq, which is the white eastern minaret of Damascus. I already told you Dajjal will come to him after he prays. He will run to him, and Dajjal will be captured at Lida. What's the name of the place today? Lida. Babi Lud is called Lida. At that time, Dajjal will be killed. If you look at the map today in Israel, this is called Lod. This is called Lida. This is the exact location where Isa will kill Dajjal. I'll tell you one very unique thing. See this highway here, brothers and sisters? See this highway? It's curved. Everyone see that curve? What happened is there's a tree here. There's a tree somewhere here. And this is the exact location where Dajjal will be killed. And what happened was they tried to remove that tree, but they couldn't. So that is why the entire road system is going circular. It's either here or it's either in here. Because you can see a systematic trend of loops. Why couldn't it go straight? Because this road has an obstruction. And when Allah says something, and when Rasulullah says something, that is exactly what's going to happen. One of the things that we also believe is the Mahdi. Mahdi is a person that the Prophet ﷺ said, a person from my family will come to galvanize the believers, to tell them that they need to prepare before that time happens. There are 4 signs of the Mahdi. Number 1 is that he will come at a time where there's great confusion. Are we living in a time of great confutation? Are we living in that time? Intense disputes, violent deaths, where people are afflicted with disturbances such as fear, calamities. So that's one thing the Prophet ﷺ said. There's also going to be earthquakes and stuff. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. Number 2, there's going to be a battle in Mina. It is said that at the year of Hajj, there will be a very big battle in Mina, and a lot of people will die during that time. Number 3, it says the Euphrates River will disclose a mountain of gold. Now, have you ever seen a river disclose something? Anyone? Well, it's happening as you speak. You know why? According to this article, just last month in Iraq, because of drought, an ancient city which is 3,400 years old emerged. That's the pictures right there. That is practically intact. So if the water is drying up, emerging of these things is possible. And the last is said, the emergence of Sufyani. And I'll just read the one tradition. Abu Hurairah reports that the Prophet Muhammad said, a man will emerge from the depths of Damascus. He will be called Sufyani. People who will follow him will be from the tribe of Kalb, Banu Kalb. These were people from the time of the Prophet ﷺ. He will kill by ripping the stomachs of women and even killing the children. A man from my family will appear in the haram. The news of his advent will reach the Sufyani, and he will send to him one of his armies to defeat him. But Imam Mahdi will defeat them. And they will then travel with whomsoever remains until they come to the desert, and they will be swallowed. So he's talking about Syria. He's talking about an army. He's talking about a ruthless ruler who will kill children and women. and then he will try to kill the Mahdi. I'm not going to give any references to anyone today, and I'm not asking you to do that, but I'll tell you one thing, brothers and sisters. Start thinking. This is the first of our 3 presentations. Let me end this first presentation with this. The Talmud, the Midrash, and the Kabbalistic work, the Zohar, these are ancient Judaic books. Okay? If you don't believe in them, that's fine. I'm not saying believe in them. But these ancient books mean something to people in this world. In it, they state that the deadline by which the Messiah, must appear is 6,000 years from the creation. Is everyone with me? In their books it stated the Messiah must come when this world is 6,000 years old. Everyone's with me? Please? 6,000? According to the tradition of the Hebrew calendar, started at the time of creation, placed at 3761 before Christ. Today, the Hebrew calendar is 5779. So, people assume, remember one thing, the lunar calendar every 33 years loses 1 year. Is everyone with me? The lunar calendar every 33 loses 1 year. So based on that, it seems like either in the next 22 years, more or less, this prophecy has to come to pass. For the Jewish nation, thousands of years have been spent in counting down to a time period that will ultimately usher the final redemption. Currently, based on the time of the Messiah clock. Did you know there's something called the Messiah clock? There's something called the Messiah clock. You know how we have in Times Square the countdown, the ball that drops for the year? It's time, right? 10, 9, 8, 7. There's a Messiah clock. The year 6000, according to them, will occur in 2239, according to the Gregorian calendar. So, what I'm trying to tell you is, brothers and sisters, is that a work is being done for the fulfillment of a biblical prophecy. You and I need to know that our Prophet ﷺ spoke about it. And you and I need to understand that we need to protect ourselves from it. Yes or no? A foolish person goes outside without checking the weather. A smart person packs and prepares accordingly. The Prophet ﷺ said, he who recites 3 verses at the beginning of Surah Kahf will be protected from the trials of Dajjal. Can we recite 3 verses of Surah Kahf every day? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can we even memorize those 3 verses? What is the benefit? You are protecting yourself from something that is coming. May Allah protect all of us from this. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Let us move on to the next one now. We have a lot to cover. Now that we've understood the framework of Dajjal, and we could say with some assurity that Dajjal is real, Dajjal is alive, Dajjal knows what's happening, and Dajjal has a companion. And the companion's name is Jassasa. And Jassasa, based on different interpretations, also means that the spying that's going on, the changes that are being made, is all to set the stage for Dajjal. Now there's a person called Dzul Qarnain. How many of us have heard the name Dzul Qarnain? How many of us think we know who he is? Who is he? Thank you. Everyone in our religion is taught Dzul Qarnain is Cyrus the Great or Alexander the Great. Yes? People always say he's one of these two. How many of us have actually read the history of Cyrus the Great or Alexander the Great to draw that conclusion? How many of us? Now, you might say, who cares about it? Right? It's only Dzul Qarnain. Let me tell you how important Dzul Qarnain is. Number 1, the Jews mention him. Number 2, the Quran mentioned him. Number 3, we're going to learn what his name means. We'll learn who he is historically, and we'll learn what he did for the whole world. Everyone with me on this? When did the Jews mention him? Let me go through the story quickly. The Quraysh have this man amidst them. His name is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What's his name? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quraysh hate him. They're like, this guy keeps on saying he's a prophet. We need to prove he's not a prophet. But who do we prove it by? You go to people who have the most authentic faith. And what people are those? The Jews. So they sent a delegation to the top chief Jewish rabbis. And they said, this guy in our town says he's a prophet. And you guys had all the prophets. Tell us how we could prove he's not a prophet. So they said, ask Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam 3 questions. Everyone read this. 3 questions. If he knew the answer to those questions, then he's a prophet. The first question they said about some young men a long time ago who left their people and had wandered off and they had this wondrous experience. The second is a traveler who had joined the 2 ends of the earth in the east and the west. And the third was about the spirit. Now, they come back, Quraysh, chest is up. Oh Muhammad, you're a prophet, right? Yes, I'm sent by Allah. Who are these children who had this amazing experience? Let me just Google it. Is that what the Prophet did? He said, okay. Tell us about the man who went to the east and the west. Okay. Tell us about the spirit, the soul. Understand one thing, brothers and sisters. This is such an important part of our deen. The Jews had a reason to ask this question. And we have to know why they wanted to ask this question. Number 1, the first 2 questions occurred in their time, which we have no historical reference to, but they wanted to know how much clarity we have on it. Because part of the deception lines is that when you don't know something, I can tell you, and CNN had that commercial a few months ago. They had a banana peel, and they said, apple, 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 apple. It takes 1 generation for that to become an apple. If you want to know how easy it is to manipulate history, let me ask you one question. And I said, I'm not talking about politics tonight. We in this country right now see certain things in 2 separate ways. Yes or no? What record will history record? You'll be in your graves. Your grandchildren will read that this was either the golden era of America or it was the worst fall of America. They're not going to give you both narrations. It's going to be one narration. Think about this. The Jews wanted to know how much do you know. And the third question was, can you give us some light? Because the biggest thing intriguing the world in science and medicine today is still the soul. What is this soul? We learned that when a person sleeps, their soul departs, small death. Many sleep studies are going on right now to find out what's this correlation, what's happening, how can we capture this soul? We've studied the brain to know the front and the back and the side, where we have memories, where we store. The brain has been studied. We're trying to find the connection with the soul. That was a question they're asking. So the Prophet Muhammad said, return to me the following day and I'll have the answers. However, he didn't say what, everyone? He didn't say what, everybody? Inshallah. وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. What surah is that in? Hufaz? What surah is that in? Surah Kahf. What story is the children in? Surah Kahf. What story is the traveler in? Surah Kahf. This surah is teaching you everything. Doesn't matter if you don't understand it. Read it. Allah put the correlation of these stories in one surah and put the story of the soul in the surah before it. So what happened was, they came next day, he had no answer. They came the following day, he had no answer. Now Quraysh is laughing. Oh my God, he's not a prophet. He's not a prophet. See, we proved it to him. 15 days passed, Rasulullah could not answer. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel alayhi salam and said, أَمْ حَسِبْتَ أَنَّ أَصْحَابَ الْكَهْفِ وَالرَّقِيمِ كَانُوا مِنْ آيَاتِنَا عَجَبًا. What, you think this is something big? إِذْ أَوَى الْفِتْيَةُ إِلَى الْكَهْفِ فَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً. Allah said, I'll tell you the story. Right? Allah told the story. Has nothing to do with this ummah, but Allah told the story. Where Allah is telling us, when you seclude yourself to Allah and you give yourself to Allah, Allah will protect you. You can never fail in Allah's hands. They went to sleep for how many? 309 years. Because the king said, worship me. And they said, we're not going to worship this man. And they didn't know where they went, but Allah took care of them. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنْ ذِي الْقَرْنَيْنِ. They're asking about Dzul Qarnain. قُلْ, Muhammad says, tell them, سَأَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا. I'll tell them the story. You guys want to laugh? He who laughs last, laughs best. Allah said, I'll tell you the story. Allah told the whole story and more. What did they ask? Ask him about the king who traveled the east and the west. Allah said, I'll tell you what happened in between also. You want to know the story? I'll give you the whole story. And then Allah said in Surah Bani Israel, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They're asking you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the ruh. They want to know more. They want to prove God wrong. So tell them, قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. Tell them that's my command. وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You only know this much. So this was the story that the Jews spoke about Dzul Qarnain. Right? I just told you about these three questions. Where did the Quran mention him? Quran mentioned him 3 times in the entire Quran. How many times, everyone? Dajjal, how many times? How many times Ya'juj Ma'juj? 2 times. And how many times Dzul Qarnain? 3 times. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنْ ذِي الْقَرْنَيْنِ قُلْ سَأَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا. I just told you about that. Allah talks about, he went to the, everyone please read with me here. حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ مَغْرِبَ الشَّمْسِ. Until when he reached the place where the sun set, he found it going down into a black sea, a murky sea, عَيْنٍ حَمِئَةٍ, a murky water, a very dirty water. فَوَجَدَ عِنْدَهَا قَوْمًا. He found some people there. They said, O Dzul Qarnain, either you chastise these people or you give them some benefit, like teach them something. The people are complaining about a people to Dzul Qarnain. Now, number 1, if a visitor comes to your house for the weekend, would you tell the visitor, tell my wife or tell my husband or tell my children to be nice? No. You hide your very best. Husband and wife won't fight. Hey honey, how are you? Oh me, I'm fine. No, we put on a show. This man is traveler. He comes here. They say, help these people for God's sake. Do something to them. Teach them or chastise them. Okay? قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن يأجوج ومأجوج. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about him going to the Matli' al-Shams. I forgot to put that verse. Oh, good, I learned. He went to the rise of the sun, where people had no cover from the sun. And then he went to the middle. And in that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Dzul Qarnain again. Inna ya'juj wa ma'juj mufsiduna fil ard. O Dzul Qarnain, Gog and Magog make what, everyone? I want to hear that word. Mischief in the land. Remember the word mufsidun. I want you to keep fasad in your head, okay? Shall we then pay you? They're making problems. Shall we pay you a tribute on condition that you should raise a barrier between us and them? There's these people. They're causing mischief. We want you to build a wall and enclose them. We'll pay you. Ya'juj and Ma'juj are the people that Allah will tell Adam to throw in the hell. How many again? 999 out of 1,000. And here, the Quran is saying that the people are asking this man who's a visitor to do something. So this man must be someone unique, right? He must be some type of mullaji, alim, Sufi, Payat, someone. Who is he? We need to find this out. So number 1, let us understand what does his name mean before we understand who he is? How many of us have heard the man with two horns? Put your hands up. Now, be real. If